All right, guys, this is the joy of paintball. I'm Clint Riddle, and today I have Philip Swindle. It depends on which side of his family you talk to. But I've recently haven't been doing my due diligence, but just sort of like discovered Philip and his photography, and he's incredible. We'll talk about that
Thanks.
here in a little bit. But yeah, dude, let me like. Have you done a podcast before, like about paintball?
No, I've actually
No.
not been on a podcast. I'm usually behind things, so I'm not usually in
Yeah.
front of the camera. I've definitely
Sweet.
done recording of podcasts for people and everything, but never this way. So I'm stoked. Yeah,
Sweet, man. So then I get to do it. Like what's your history of paintball? Birthday party?
yeah.
No? It was a
So
birthday party?
yes, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
And better yet, it was actually my birthday. My best friend at the time was like, "You got to try this thing. It's called paintball." And I think it was when I was 12, because I think in Georgia at the time. So I'm born in Georgia. I
Okay.
think you had to be 12, and I was like, "Sweet, let's try it." And I remember like doing it, and yeah, it was super fun. And I didn't do it again till later. I didn't play again until like a year or two later. But I remember it was really fun. It was really interesting because it was also indoors, so it wasn't like the full experience with grass and everything. So it was really slippery and
Okay.
a lot
Yeah.
more dirty.
Was it like was it like dirt that turned into concrete, or was it the old like cat pee smelling rugs that you would slide
So there
on?
weren't. I don't remember there being rugs. I do remember just being like kind of slippery and like kind of kitty litter ish on like a concrete floor. I remember there was one outdoor field, and the outdoor field was grass, I guess, but it was more dirt than
Yeah.
grass. Because I think we played in winter. Because my birthday was in the winter, so like it was definitely winter time. But yeah, it was
Okay.
memorable, and I definitely went back and played more later. So yeah,
Right on, right on. Sweet, man. So did you ever play tournament paintball, like competitively?
yeah, for sure. So actually, up until last year, so I was living in Europe um, for a while, and actually just recently, as in like last week, moved back to the States, and I was playing over there. Yeah, so I was playing a good bit,
Dude,
like
you're still
NXL in
like
Europe.
unpacking and stuff. Dang, man. I didn't know it was that fresh. I would have waited to ask you to do this. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's good. It's a no. Trust me, it is a break from like assembling furniture and sorting stuff, and it's like a good mental. No, I'm very happy to have some sort of break. So yeah,
Okay,
so I was
cool.
playing there up until last year, and then my team broke up in the off season, and I was playing with a Polish team, and then this year I got started working in paintball with video and photo, and then just kind of haven't been able to play just because the weekends of paintball are filming and photo, so it's just hasn't
Yeah.
worked out this year. But yeah, so I played tournaments for a while.
Sweet, sweet. All
Yeah,
right. So, birthday party,
yeah.
then
So
some
birthday
tournament
party.
stuff. But I think there's things that I don't know if I did my research right. Were you military?
No,
Oh,
no
okay.
military.
Okay.
No, no.
All right. So
Long
that
hair. Been
answers
long hair
that.
for a while, so I haven't.
Gotcha.
I've never been in the
That's good.
military.
That's not Lieutenant
Yeah,
Dan stuff going right there. Uh,
yeah,
no, I gotta. Okay, so that answers my next question. Your handle on Instagram is Anchor's Way, and I was
yeah.
like, if it's military, I could see it being Navy, but that's is it a reference to the Bouncing Souls song?
And so actually, I didn't know about the Bouncing Souls song until recently. Actually,
Oh man, okay.
I know. So actually, it was. Let's see. At the time, I was working for Apple, and I was trying to go freelance, and I was trying to think of like a photography name for like what I was doing. And if I wanted to go by my name, a lot of people were going by, you know, their name, photography, which is cool. But I didn't want to use my name. I wanted to use something different, and it just came to me one day. I know like anchors away means like you're, setting sail, getting ready to go on your voyage. It's also like a song as well, like
Yeah.
old
Okay.
song. And so it's more like setting sail, going on your voyage, nautical themed. I was really into nautical stuff. I have like nautical traditional tattoos, so kind of just went there. Yeah,
Okay.
and my grandfathers were in the Navy, so like you could say it's also to them too, but it's more
Yeah.
about like setting sail, going on your next voyage, you're ready for it, and that's what I was doing at the time when I started the name. Just kind of kept
Nice.
it and just I don't know, just kept rolling with it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, you stuck to it. Moving you said, was it Prague, right? For
Yeah.
7 years,
So
or
yeah. So basically, 7 years ago, July 2016, my wife and I just wanted to change and experience another culture more deeply. So we decided to give it a shot in Europe and landed in Prague. Prague was one of the easier cities to move to as an expat, but also a freelancer because I'm a freelancer and it's a little tricky with visa. Actually, it's really tricky with a visa in a lot of countries.
yeah,
So Prague is easier than some other ones, and there's a
okay.
lot of other reasons why we landed there, but that was one of the reasons. And the craziest thing is actually we had never even been to Prague when we moved there. So
Oh man,
yeah, literally like when we got
you
off the
just sort of
flight
get
with our
off the
stuff,
plane
that's
and like, oh, I
when
guess
we
this will
landed
work.
and we were there. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I lost you
sorry,
for
I
a second.
lost you for a little bit. Yeah, same here.
Oh, good.
Okay, so you never been to Prague, and
Yeah,
you just like
we had
Zillow
never.
something. I don't even
Yeah,
like.
we had never been. So my wife's a teacher, so she got a teaching job there.
Okay,
She left her old one that she had, and we went there. And I was a freelancer, so I was like, well, I guess I can pick up and start over. And that's what we did. So yeah, picked
nice,
up and
nice.
started over. We didn't know anybody at all. The only person we knew is the person who hired her to teach at the school, at an international school, and that was it.
Okay,
So yeah, did
nice.
that for 7 years, and like I said, the past week we came back to the States and we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. So yeah,
So
crazy.
is she gonna teach now?
So we have a 1.5 year old, and she's like
Okay,
gone back to like consulting and doing some
okay,
stuff remotely. So
good.
maybe
Okay.
maybe teaching full time again eventually, but for now she's doing the mom
Let,
thing. And yeah,
yeah, it's a little
yeah,
dicey. I'm a teacher also, and
yeah,
it's it's changing. I'll say that much.
yeah.
So
And she was an
yeah.
educational director, and so she was really just putting in a lot of extra hours. She used to run a school for kids with special needs.
Oh
She
wow.
was like the main one running everything, and
Yeah.
kind of got burned out. It was just a lot of
Yeah,
work.
dude.
And so when we went to Prague, she was like, "I want to go back to teaching. I want to teach, third grade or something, and then just be a teacher for a
Sweet.
while." And then so yeah,
Right on. So, man, that's awesome. Okay, here we are again. Uh, in case you guys are wondering, Philip is the nicest human on planet and just went through so many technical things on my end. And all right, well, here we are.
all
Okay,
good.
yeah. So if I remember correctly, we left off. You had just moved back from Prague. You guys spent 7 years there,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
were playing overseas. Was it the Euro NXL or just
Yeah,
whatever
so I was
local
playing.
stuff?
Yeah, so I was doing both. I was playing in the Euro NXL. I was also playing in a Polish series,
Okay.
and I was also playing in a Czech series as well because I was living in Prague. So Czech had their own series, and then I was going over to Poland mostly, which was quite a journey to go over there to play, but it's just a lot of driving. So, but that's where my last team was. They were based out of Poland.
Right on.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Um,
cool. Good experience. It was a very different style of play. Than US. So it was cool to like experience that. And I always wanted to play in Excel in Europe. Well, at the time Millennium, but by the time I
oh,
got there,
dude, yeah,
it was an Excel. So yeah,
yeah.
but it was cool.
Were
Cool
they
experience.
doing at that time the like pod limit? Is it like
Yeah,
2 pods
yeah.
or
So
4 pods?
so we were playing. Now I'm blanking. It's limited paint though. Yeah. So with the Polish league I was playing with, I believe we were playing with like only 3 pods, and then NXL was four, something like that. I'm getting mixed up, but it's limited paint either way. And actually, I kind of like it. Crazy enough,
Yeah,
it takes out like a little bit of the game where there's a lull. I feel like where there's that where everyone's just shooting their guns, trying to think of what they are going to do. Like it just takes that out a little bit.
yeah,
And also, of course, people aren't holding lanes as much as well. So,
yeah. I
but
miss
yeah, it
that
was cool. I
aspect.
kind of liked it. Yeah, and it makes it cheaper for teams that'll have funding and everything as well to practice. But a lot of teams in Europe also play reball a lot for
Okay.
training. So these
Yeah.
guys, that's what I think the biggest difference was in playing there is they do a lot of training, a lot more technical training, just because they can. Because for them, it's basically free because they have reball practice,
Hmm.
and it just costs you your time at that point because there's no paint, it's reball, and you
Yeah.
just go drill a lot. So it was
Man.
cool.
Yeah. I bet that. Yeah, you get those fundamentals, but I think that's Americans seem to understand the flow of the game almost to a point.
Yes.
If you look at, I would compare it like it's almost like flip flopping MLS versus any
Mm,
really football anywhere else in the world, but
yeah.
they just like, okay, yeah, we can have these super athletes, but they just didn't, it's not bred into them quite like other
Yeah,
other
and I
countries.
totally see that too, and that's what I notice as well. Is like you're right, Americans like the American style of play is more free flowing. They understand the flow of the game, and they're more creative in certain ways. And I think it's changing in Europe, but
Oh
for
yeah,
the
it's
most
getting
part, that's
way.
how it is. Yeah, and then the Europeans have like crazy technical gun skills, like because they're
Hmm.
drilling all the time with reball and they're just training a lot. So, and that's why it's dangerous if you get like some of these American players that help them and help teach them more of the flow, and then they've
Yeah,
got all these technical skills, and they're
yeah.
getting really good. So
Then
yeah,
we got the Tauntauns really just, and who else was it? I can't remember. Verst Factory.
Verst. Yeah, so I would play against
They
those
also,
guys in Poland. Those
yeah.
guys have been playing a lot in the past like 2 years, especially. So when I was playing there, they're always really tough team. But they were playing probably five different series, maybe when I was playing against them. Like they were playing every weekend some tournament. They were going to
Goodness.
Croatia for like a one-off tournament. Then they play a German paintball league. They play NXL. They play Czech league. They would play Polish league. They're just playing, man. They're
Yeah.
playing. So, and that's why they're doing
Man.
so well now. Like they've gotten so good in a short amount of time, and that's really why they're just same group of guys really and grinding. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Hold on. Okay. So let's talk photography.
yeah,
I don't, I think I mentioned it, but it may have been during the technical storm that we endured. Did I see right that you went to Savannah College of Art and Design?
yeah.
SCAD?
I
Nice.
did. Yeah, yeah. So SCAD, I was in the Atlanta campus when they first opened, but then I switched to the Savannah one. They didn't have the film major there yet, so I had to transfer to Savannah. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so I was there as a
Right on.
4 year art school. I was reluctant to go. I didn't want to go to college or university. I wanted just to go freelance and work with my cousin who was in the film business and uh, just go out that route. I didn't want a degree or anything. And but I was the oldest of four kids, and my parents were like, "No, you have to go to college." And
They
I was
said, you
like,
know
"Okay,
what? You have to go to college. And you were like, all right,
yeah,
screw you guys. I'm getting a fine arts degree.
yeah." Basically, so I started off thinking like I would
Yeah.
do business or something, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to do this, you know. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I want to do. And they're like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, you got to go to school for it. Even though,
Yeah.
like, and as you know, like with what we do, you don't, this is controversial to some people, but you don't need a degree for what we do at all. Like, no one ever checks my degree. They don't care that I have a degree. They don't care. They want to see the work, the portfolio. What have you done before? So for me,
Yeah. Yeah. I won't say that I care, but it definitely like, it didn't surprise me when I saw that because I think, I did a fine arts degree, not SCAD, but just at a local university. Uh,
nice.
so, there's. Did you ever see the movie Art School Confidential?
I think so. Yeah, a while ago, probably. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like this weird parody, but those of you that maybe don't know what we endured for however long you went to school, there's a lot of really talented people. There's a lot of
yeah,
really talented professors. There's as much BS and people just like really like they're salesmen, which I mean,
yeah.
depending on what direction you want to go, you got to be that way. So,
for sure.
but you know, like the cream rises to the top, so to speak. Like, so I think I saw that you went to SCAD, and I was like, yeah, that checks out. Like the you because I can look at people who, as far as I know, don't have uh, formal training. I don't know, but like
Mm.
academic training. So like
Yeah,
one thing that stands out to me is for you, for your photography, how it differs from other photographers. And there's a lot of really great photographers in paintball, and I'm not trying to take away from anyone, but like compositionally, you stand out way more than like, and it
thanks.
seems like technically also like I don't think I've not shot photography or video like on a field because I want to be able to shoot back, and I don't know how you guys are just like, hey, I'm just gonna take it, and like that's gonna suck. I ref like
Yeah,
I worked at a field, so I understand like you're just instincts are going, and people just shoot at the first thing they see. So I would
yeah.
hope it's better on the pro field, but either way,
Uh, well,
th-
well, you're right. Yeah, you want to shoot back. Well, what's been crazy is like, so I didn't film or shoot paintball until this year.
really,
Um, that was kind of like a crazy thing. The only thing I did ever photography wise in paintball was I had an X ball team back in 2008, my own team, and I was in last year of university at the time, and I was doing a project, and I wanted to document my paintball team. So I had it was like a photography class, and I was shooting 35 millimeter and everything. So we went
oh
to World
man,
Cup, and I basically shot portraits and documentary style of the whole team and the journey and everything. And that was the only time I ever shot paintball because I want to be playing, and
yeah,
I knew if I want to be playing, that's what I want to do. And so I never filmed or did photo for paintball until this year, until actually the first NXL Sunshine State. That was the very first time I stepped on the field like with the camera. So that was different for
wow.
sure.
So did
Different.
you buy your access pass or whatever, or did someone
So
sponsor
yes,
you?
well, so how this whole thing happened? It's all Oliver Lane's fault.
Yeah. Okay.
So he hit me
Bless
up
that
last
man.
year.
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
we can blame him.
Yeah.
So what had happened was Oliver hit me up last year. We were following each other on Instagram and chatting and stuff, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to shoot some fashion stuff with some Hermesis attire stuff. Can I send you some in Prague to get, a vibe there? And just grab a friend. Don't hire any models. Just like grab a friend and shoot some stuff." And I was like, "Sure, that sounds fun." So he sent me a package and grabbed a couple of my friends. We did like a small shoot, did some stuff on the street, and had fun with it. And he was like, "This is awesome. This was great. Thanks for doing it." And I had a good
Hmm.
time doing it too. And then I came up with an idea. I was like, "Hey, what do you think about doing some stuff with your sponsored athletes at Sunshine State in Florida and doing some videos and photos, like some portraits of them, like to really showcase them?" Because one thing that is super cool that Hormesis does is like they really do a lot for the community, and a lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
don't know all that they do because a lot of stuff they do is kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But
They also just do so much. Like
yeah,
I'm with you on that. Sorry. Go
yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's really cool. So he's like, "Yeah, well, that sounds cool. You want to go do it?" And I was like, "Sure." So sorry, this is kind of a longer story, but it's kind of the
No,
full
it's all
story.
good, man.
So I showed up to Sunshine State, and I didn't. I don't think Oliver really told them I was coming. Told like Alex or anybody, and they're like, "Oh, Oliver kind of said you were coming, but cool. All right, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this." And they're like, "Okay, sure." And
Oh
I met
gosh.
Miko, and Miko is working with Hormesis, and I knew he was, and I knew he was doing a film project with them. Actually, I didn't know he was doing a film project. I knew he was doing some video and stuff with them, but I didn't know about his
Yeah.
film project. And then he was kind of like looking at me like, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, Oliver, me and Oliver talked about this project." I was like, "Okay." And he was kind of like, "Whatever." And he told me a little bit about his project he was working on, the Hormesis film, following different players. And I was like, "Cool, that's really cool, whatever." And I did my own thing. He did his own thing. And so I got to film my little things I wanted to do, did some portraits of some of the sponsored athletes, which the people that were showcased were the like divisional players.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. They were showcasing them. Did a couple videos and I made like a dynasty video, and they won, which was even cooler to like have some footage of
Yeah,
that
for
and their
sure.
win, and that was really cool. And it was fun to like shoot some pit photos with some emotion, and it was just a cool experience because, like I said, I'm a long time player, but I've never been on this side. And I kind of always wanted to, but I didn't do it just because like there's just not the opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
So, and they gave me the opportunity, and I was like, cool. And yeah, so that happened. It was cool, and basically they were like, hey, you want to come out to the next event and do some stuff for the next one? And then by then, so the second one was Texas, right? The second one was Texas.
Yeah, Lone Star down in
Yeah,
pretty much Austin. Yeah.
yeah. So I was there, and then Miko was like, okay, I saw some stuff you did. Would you be interested in working on this film with me? The project with him and Pat Sporer. And I was like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I know
That-
who Pat
yeah.
is. So back when I was in film school, I was at SCAD.
Hmm.
I had driven up to South Carolina back in '07. He was filming
Okay.
for Serial Killers 2, I believe. He was filming like Tyler Humphrey's segment on some high speed film. And I actually was
Man.
picking his brain back in '07, like asking him some stuff and, um, just talking tech stuff and film and everything. Like, oh, what are you
Yeah.
shooting? What frame rate? You're shooting film? That's so slick. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's shooting digital nowadays. Like, this is cool. And so it's cool to like go back and now be asked to work on this project. And like, wow, all of a sudden I'm working like
Yeah.
that. That's really fun. And then with Miko, and Miko's a really cool guy. He warmed up to me. We're cool now. And yeah, it's been a fun journey. So I've been at each event working on that project with him and doing some stuff with Hormesis along the way. So
Dude, that's awesome, man.
yeah,
That's
it's been
I'm
cool.
trying to think of the shoots. So the one your intro into the Hormesis community, that was there a staircase? Like, I'm trying to remember
Yeah, yeah,
specifically
yeah,
which one it was.
yeah. You're right.
Uh,
There was so I did some pictures of my buddy with some like streetwear kind of stuff. Um, yeah, and there was like a staircase in the background, had like some red neon lights and everything. He was wearing like a red
yeah.
shirt.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember now. I remember exactly. I'll try
yeah,
to find that and throw
yeah,
it up. Yeah.
yeah. Then I
Yeah,
did
I've
some
scoured
video.
their stuff, and yeah. Did you
Yeah,
do the Mardi Gras film when they were
yeah,
doing the
that was me.
tour? That's fucking
Yeah.
dope, man. Sorry,
Oh, thanks.
like that was.
Thanks.
I love that one. I've pulled a few. I don't know if you know. I do the posters for Hormesis,
I do
and
know.
so
Yeah,
I've
it's
pulled
sick.
a
I
few
love it.
of those like images to like just them in their masks and like the like 1 point perspective going behind them with whatever that street's called. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bourbon
that's
Street.
good.
Yeah,
So okay, so
yeah,
let everyone know what you're responsible for. Like, what videos? So the Mardi
yeah.
Gras
So,
one.
well, so what's
Uh,
kind of crazy is like like I told you, it started off like, oh, just do this shoot, and then it kind of
mhm.
developed into a thing, and then next thing I know, they're like, hey, do you want to go on the tour and be a part of that? And I was like, sweet, let's do that. So on the tour, I was doing like some photo and video. I did some vlogs. We actually have some that are going to come out later that are kind of like unreleased vlogs, if you will, because I started
Nice.
doing the ones from Mardi Gras. We
Okay.
did like a Mardi Gras in Texas one,
Yeah.
and then we didn't really have much after that. So we'll have like a shortened version of them come out eventually as like a lost tapes kind of thing, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
Sweet.
yeah, so we did some cool stuff with there. We did a lot of portrait shoots. We did some cool stuff with Oliver, um, and a lot of stuff that didn't kind of get released yet, if you will. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just because we did so much and they have so much content, like it's hard to think about when to post it. So I don't have any control over that side of things. I just make stuff and they decide when and
Yeah.
when it gets posted. So pretty much what I'm doing, stuff that I did for them, you might have seen, like let's see, yeah. So I did vlog stuff from there. I did a lot of photos on the tour, um, and then like I've done some stuff with Dynasty as well. World
Okay.
Cup, I didn't do any photos. World Cup was 100%. Well, I did a couple at the party, but that was
Yeah.
mainly just focused on shooting for the film. That
Okay.
was 100% game on for that because we had a lot of stuff to do there. So
Gotcha.
it was
Okay.
it was all hands on deck. Usually, I try to do both. I try to film what we need to, and then in my spare time, like take some photos if I can. I was
Yeah.
lucky to get some black and white 35 millimeter in Philly, but World Cup was just too busy.
Ooh,
So
yeah, that seemed to like I was bummed that I just couldn't swing the time off, and I've never been to a
that's
World Cup, and I was like, this needs to be
really
done, and no, yeah,
well
I
next
saw,
year.
yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping, I'm gonna try to, I don't know, like sell stuff somehow, maybe
Yeah,
if I could talk someone into let me do a pop up or something, but I don't know. I've got family in Vegas. I live in Texas, so I'm hoping to make those two at least. But
yeah. I mean, oh,
yeah,
that's perfect. I mean, at least go to those for sure. And yeah, you can
yeah.
even try selling some prints, maybe gauge the interest, and then do the pop up with Hormesis at the next World Cup. Get you
Oh
there. You
yeah,
know?
we'll see about that one. I gotta ask them. I'm sure they wouldn't mind, but I don't want to
No. Yeah,
encroach.
yeah, yeah.
The but back to you. All right. So, are you? Where's your ultimate passion? Videography, photography.
Ooh, I don't know if there's an ultimate.
Is
So
that like asking what's your favorite? Who's your favorite child?
yeah, it's like that's kind of difficult. I mean, I will say what was painful is being at World Cup and being like, man, I missed so many photos that I wanted to take because I was focused on shooting video.
Yeah.
But the flip side will also happen. Be like, I'll shoot some photos and be like, oh, that would be such a great cinematic moment, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I kind of flip flop between the two, which is why like I usually will shoot photo and video. Like I'll have like my photo camera and video and just kind of a little bit go back and forth.
Yeah.
It's tricky to do that because it's a different way of thinking. Like a lot of people assume that like, oh, you can shoot photo and video, right? Like they assume everyone can do that, and I'm not trying to say like I'm special or something. There are people that can do it, but it is a very different thing
Yeah.
shooting photo and video. You have so many more things to think about with video, with sound, with movement, and you have to be aware of things in a different way. Photo, you still have to be aware. It's just a different way of thinking. You can quickly get the moment, whereas video, it's like, oh, I missed it, but you're not gonna. It's just a different way of thinking. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't answer that like definitely. I will say so. In school, I was a film major and a photo minor, and originally I thought about double majoring, but then I was like, that requires more school. So I was like, just get
Mm-hmm.
me out of here. Like
Yeah.
I want to get into the real world. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I do love photography. I will say I make more photos than I do videos
Okay.
personally. So like if it's a personal thing that I'm shooting, it's definitely more photo driven for sure. Like I'm gonna walk around and shoot portraits of people or something, but
Yeah,
not
dude.
necessarily making videos. So
Yeah. Yeah. I like all of your stories. You'll throw stuff up that's like, I mean, like just these cityscapes or like these. I don't know what you call it. It's almost like a abstraction of. I don't. You'll like find like patterns in areas. There's a cool one.
okay,
I think it was like your wife sort of standing in a train well or train
yeah,
pass,
yeah,
and
yeah,
whatever was on the wall on the other side is this cool like design on there. But like finding design in urban
yeah,
settings, I guess. Like,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like architectural design, I feel like I see a lot of that with what you do.
Yeah, so stories like so I don't think about those as much. Like I'm so bad about posting because I do a lot of work and I just don't post it because I
Yeah.
just overthink it, like most people do. But I'm just
Hmm.
really bad about posting. Whereas stories, I'm just like, who cares? I'll just post it.
Yeah, it's gonna go
It
away.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So like with that, I always was like walking around. A lot of those architecture things were from Prague, and like just seeing something like how the light hits the building differently. Because honestly, like if you were to look at a building in overcast weather and then see it midday with full sun, like it's just
Yeah.
completely different looking.
Yeah.
So I'd
For
often
sure.
find myself taking photos of like the same buildings, but it looks so different to me, and it gets me excited.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it's
How
fun.
much how much of your or I guess are you familiar with Monet?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember his it's in one of the museums in Paris, but he painted Notre Dame at different times of day, and
Oh, okay.
it was really really interesting. I gotta if I can I'll
I
send it to you.
I don't think I didn't see that. I've been to Paris many, many times, and I don't
So
think I've seen that.
it was at Musée d'Orsay, which is, if anyone listening, like the Louvre is the Louvre, but the Musée d'Orsay, if you like art, go to the Musée
So
d'Orsay.
that's why I didn't see it. So this is
Okay.
embarrassing. I've been to Paris like 15 times, and I
Yeah.
haven't gone to that museum. I've only been to the Louvre,
Uh, no,
and
but
I missed
that's
out.
you need to go. No, I mean, now you have a reason to go
Yeah,
back. I didn't get to
yeah.
go. I went. I have French family, so I went
Okay,
with them, and tried to squeeze. I think my oldest and he was single digits at the time, like 9 maybe, but we spent like 4 to 6 hours in the Louvre and we were
yeah,
like speed walking through everything, and because I was like, I know the history, like you're not gonna see all of it, so I was just like, just blasting through, trying to soak in whatever I could.
and your brain's just fried. There's actually a term for it too, like where you
Fatigue or
see too much
whatever.
art at one time. Yeah, there's some sort of actual like coin phrase or term for this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember hearing about it. Maybe it's a different thing, but I took a communication design class, history of graphic design, essentially. But they talked about like just the overload of visual whatever, and
yeah,
some sort of fatigue. I think I don't, but
yeah.
yeah,
It's real. It's
I'll send you. I'll try to find a link that has everything on there. But yeah, it's pretty dope. Like, and that's he's photography was just being invented at the time, so and it was black and white, so he's not
real. Yeah.
able to capture the color. So like if he had a photograph, so he's going setting up painting. I don't know how long each painting took, but he did like 6 for each time of day. So I don't know if he. Anyway, sorry, I'm
That's
geeking out
cool.
on
No,
stuff.
I love that. I definitely love to see it because yeah, I would appreciate it for sure because
Yeah.
yeah, stuff looks so different, different times of day, different light. I'm a big light nerd just because
Well,
it affects you too. Like it affects your mood, it affects like how you see things, and of course, photography and video, like it's all about light. And
yeah.
yeah, so I love light.
Oh man,
Yeah,
do you get into Oliver Eliasson? You
I
familiar with him?
don't
How
know.
so? Where
I don't know.
what on a level of 1 to 10? What's your art nerddom?
So I'm better. I'm pretty bad about names. I'm
Okay,
better with visuals. So if I see something, I'll be like, okay, I remember like
yeah, I'm
seeing
with you on
this
that.
or whatever. And I can be bad with like names. Um, yeah, and I don't remember like everything from art history that I probably should after
Well,
after how many art history classes either. So
you don't have to
yeah,
teach it, so it's not at the front of your mind.
true, true,
But
true. And it's been a while
okay,
since
yeah,
school as well. But
yeah,
yeah, no, no, I don't know that
okay.
name. I don't know.
I mean, he's. I'll. Did you watch the Abstract series on Netflix?
Yes, is he
I'm
on
pretty
there?
sure he's. I think he's on there. The second season, maybe.
Have they only done like 2 seasons or something?
I believe so.
They
But
need to do
like,
more because I love that series.
dude, those are yeah.
It's so
Those
good.
were so cool. That first season is so good. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to corrupt the conversation
No, but it's
with
good.
art
But they
nerd
really need to
stuff.
do more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, and that was how I discovered Platon. I'm gonna say his name
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah. He had a
that
good
dude.
episode on there too.
Oh my gosh, I show that to my students. I'm like, hey, this is how you take a portrait, guys. It's not just
Yeah.
I really really have to go over like, all right, here's what a snapshot is, and here's what a photograph is. Like, we need to
Yeah.
delineate between the two, guys. And these high
Yeah.
school kids, they're just like, well, I just want to be done. So it's,
Yeah. And
but
and
it's, yeah,
and a lot of people don't understand the difference still now, because a lot of photography now is kind of like just disposable. It's
hmm
like, you pick up a phone and it's like, all right, done, and that's it.
hmm
When you're looking at it, whereas that you're meant to kind of look at it on a bigger bigger frame and take it in and really look at the person's eyes and maybe try to think of what they're thinking rather than like, oh, they're
Yeah.
smiling, scroll up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a different way. And also, props to him. He definitely has his like setup and his look dialed in to
Oh yeah.
where it looks. He makes it look easy. You know,
Oh
like
yeah.
when you watch it, you're
This.
like, photography is easy when you watch him do it, but it really he's just got it dialed in and his system's in place of exactly what he wants. And that's
Hmm.
like to me that's mastery if like you can really in your head know what you want to do and then you know how to do it. Like that's like mastery
Yeah.
of your craft right there.
Yeah, for sure. That guy. Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of portraits, there's one on the Hormesis site from 2 World Cups ago of Rocky Cagnoni, and I'm wondering if that was you or not.
No, so like I said, this
He's
was the
he's
only
doing the. Were you at? Okay,
yeah. So I've
I
been to
wonder who
World
that.
Cup this last year. 2023 was the first time I've been to World Cup in like it's been a while, like 6 years or 7 years. So yeah, that wasn't me. I hadn't, and I only shot paintball this year. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
I don't know who
Okay,
did that
okay,
one. It's on
yeah,
Hormesis website. I'll check it out. Yeah,
yeah. It's. I
Rocky's a
mean, it's
cool
pretty
guy.
dope, but yeah, I bet. Okay, so back to the. But like when you do portraits, so have you done portraits recently with you said you got to do some with the Hormesis guys,
Yeah,
like the
yeah. So
sponsored
I did some
athletes?
with them. Yeah, I did some with them at the beginning of the year. On the tour, I did some stuff with them, and I did like that shoot in New Orleans as well. We did some like a funny theme shoot there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So we've been doing some cool stuff, and then we did some content, more lifestyle photos with Damien from
yeah,
Dynasty.
yeah.
We did some like ads for with him
Mm-hmm.
and Chris Odom. Just some stuff that's a little different and unique on the webcast. So
Yeah.
might have surprised some people to see them in a different way and like not your standard Go Sports
Yeah.
ads. So
Well,
pretty
I mean,
fun.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought it was legitimate, like it was like commercial quality, which because you are professional.
Thanks.
Talk to me about directing someone when you're photographing for a portrait or videography, either way. Like,
Yeah.
how involved are you? You know, we talked about Platon. That dude was he.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like he's really charismatic, and he's very what you would imagine like in a movie how a photographer is depicted, like very like yeah, you know, like Austin Powers almost, you know. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
where do you land with that as far as directing
Yeah.
models?
So I think it depends on like who it is. That's like a number one thing. Like, is this person an experienced like model, or am I doing a portrait for them for an article about them and they've never really been in front of the camera? So, like, if I'm doing an editorial piece, like a photo for an editorial about them, they're not as comfortable, right? Because they're not a model. So I've got to figure out, like, okay, how am I going to make this person comfortable? How are they going to feel comfortable with me? Because that's
Hmm.
obviously going to show if they're like not comfortable. And how am
Yeah.
I going to find like how they look good? Because that's really tricky because you know, people photograph a certain way and look a certain way in real life, like,
Hmm.
and that's tricky. So usually I try to just like hang out, talk with them for a minute, and just get to know them, and they're more comfortable with me, and then they're like, okay, like, and then we
Yeah.
kind of get into it, and I kind of figure out like what side's maybe a better side for them, or I ask them because sometimes they're like, that's not my good side because I have a crooked nose from when I got in a fight or something. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I try to feel out from them, but I definitely try to like start talking to somebody first because that definitely helps a situation and just makes them lighten up and just be chill. Just
Yeah.
not be too serious about it because then you'll stress them out and they're already stressed out. They're already nervous about being in front of the camera. So
Yeah.
so with that, and then like with models, I usually just try to give them some direction of what I want, and then let them go with it, see what
Okay.
they deliver, and then I go from there. So to do like a paintball story, so with Damien, we did all of like his shoots in Texas, like at a parking deck, in like an hour.
Okay.
He's like,
Wow.
because I was like, hey, we need some content for Prometheus. They really want to put out an ad, and they would need some just content of someone wearing some clothes, and we need it like super fast. And I was
Yeah.
like, can you come with me for like an hour? He's like, okay. So we filmed like a bunch of video with him walking, doing his thing, and some photos all within this hour, including like 15-minute drive each way to this parking deck. So,
Nice.
but with him, he's a pro. He's a pro
Yeah.
professional
Yeah.
model. Actually, I don't know if a lot of people know that. And so for him, I just try to figure out like what he would give me if I told him, "Hey, walk this way, hands in your pocket. You know, you're wearing this hat, so kind of do something with the hat." Hormesis had these hats in Texas, so it's like do
Mm-hmm.
something with the hat, lean against the wall, that kind of whole cliche thing, and just go from there, see what happens. And then did that a couple times, and I was like, okay, I see what he's got. Let's maybe move locations because we got this shot, and
Mm-hmm.
find the good light. So that's usually the next thing I do is like figure out what they're doing, and then now I want to find like where the light's really going. And I really like working with backlight, so I like having some natural light coming through, some flares. So I try to find him where he's walking towards me with some light behind him, and where I can kind of position myself to where I'm shooting into the light a bit to kind of have some nice warm tones coming through with a natural light, and shoot it in
Nice.
slow mo, and yeah, have fun with it. So yeah, so with the person, it just depends on where they are. Like when I was doing some magazine shoots, sometimes I did the cover shoot, and the person would be an everyday person that they wanted to feature on this women's lifestyle magazine. And so it was like, okay, this is going to be tricky, you know?
Yeah. That's yeah.
Um, and it took a bit, and I had to figure out where they were comfortable, and like how they want to be presented and everything. But then with the models, it was super easy and super fast because they know how they look good, and
Mm-hmm.
they know like what positions, like jumping and active things they can do that will look good, and that was a lot easier. So yeah, it just completely depends on the person. You have to get a feel for that when you first meet them and like
Yeah.
initiate. So
Wow. Okay. Dude. All right. So you mentioned light in there, and I know you
yeah,
were at Waxahachie for
yeah,
paintball fit. I grew up in Texas. I'm like an hour ish away from PB Fit, and
nice, cool place.
it's really cool. But Texas in general is, I say, like I moved to Vegas for a little bit. I've sort of lived a few other places and visited a lot of places. I'm like, man, it's beautiful out here. But at Texas, I'm like, everything is gray. Like, what is
Mm,
happening? Except for
mm,
the sunsets. Sunsets, like that's what we got going for
yeah.
us. So, tell me about Texas Light. Do you remember like looking around it? And I mean, granted, it was like June when you were here, so
Yeah, it was just
uh,
brutal. So
yeah,
that one I wasn't going for anything creative, because I was mainly filming for like the vlog and like showcasing the players at the joust and the duel. So it wasn't as more of being creative as more of like capturing like the action and the people
yeah,
having a good time and everything, and show the vibe of the event, because
okay,
they had a really great time. And then the duel was showcasing these guys battling out, going back and forth. I did
yeah,
sneak in some more like nice light shots at sunset, like you were
yeah,
saying. There were some shots of
yeah,
Oliver, like spray painting the ground and stuff with some nice glowy light at the end of the day. That was beautiful. Like that Texas sunset is just
yeah.
amazing.
That's
So yeah, I definitely witnessed that for sure. Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of in that area. There's pockets of like cool nature, but for the most part, we've everywhere that you would see is suburbia. So we get the gray from the old fences and rooftops and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
but sorry, that's a weird thing for rabbit hole to go down.
No, it's
Well,
all
all right,
good.
man. Let's see. So I sent you a few questions. I don't know if I was
Yeah.
if you had time to go over them. I love to ask this just because it kind of lets me. I should have asked earlier, but it lets me see like where people are in art, as far
Mm.
as like you know. I don't know how that doesn't make sense. Where they are in art, where they are like as a art appreciator, and I think
Mm.
everyone intrinsically appreciates art.
Yeah.
May not be able to verbalize it, but I think like
Mm.
knowing what they acknowledged, like hearing Dan talk about the cover artist for like the Star Wars images, like the movie
Mm,
posters, like like Luke holding his lightsaber up and Darth Vader's behind it, like whatever. Like that was cool, and it really like that checked out. I was like, yeah, that makes sense, man. And so,
yeah.
do you remember like the first artist, or how did I ask it? It was what? How about this? Who's an artist that I need to know about that maybe I don't know?
Yeah. So I guess it depends on like what kind of art. Since we're talking about like more photography and that kind of thing, let's see. There's a couple. One is well, this guy's more popular. His name's Joey L. He's kind of a younger photographer. He's
Okay,
been doing it for a while, and I've always liked his style of portraits. Um, he they're quite dramatically shot, and
okay,
he's kept true to his look like for the past 15, 20 years. I think he's probably in his early 30s really, but he's been working as like a commercial photographer for a long time, like maybe even since he was 20 years old. And I think
oh
he's
wow.
gone more in like the um,
Is this?
more of the
I
high
don't
end
know.
route. Might be the right one. I can find it for you.
I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see. Is this his stuff? I don't know. It's kind of a.
Yeah. Joey
Okay.
L. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
and what's cool about him is he was working for all these companies, all these big name brands, doing these campaigns, and then once he like really started to make a name for himself and like make a good bit of money, he started just funding his own projects and doing a lot of like documentary photography, but in a different way. So he would actually be in the middle of nowhere with his assistant with a giant softbox in the middle of nowhere in a big power pack that's just like beat to hell that he traveled there with, and he's getting these portraits of people in the middle of nowhere.
He's
Maybe it's in Africa. I think his most recent one, he documented a lot of people in Ethiopia. He's
okay.
really good about going to remote tribes and documenting those people. He did a great series in India a while ago, and I think those were the first images I saw of his, and this was a while ago. Um,
Okay.
and I thought those were just incredible portraits of
Oh,
people.
holy! I'm sorry. I'm like
Yeah,
looking at it. I just looked at the India one. I don't know. I'll put it up officially. I don't know if
yeah,
there
yeah.
we go.
I'll have to find some more.
Does
He's got
it?
some. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen him because he
Wow,
kind of doesn't like. He's not,
dude, this
as
guy's.
super active anymore. Like I would say, as much as he used to be, and like posting and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me see if I can find a good one to send you. But yeah, some
Oh,
old
well,
ones he
he's.
did. Like here's like one he did a while ago.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. So anyone that's watching this is joeyl.com is his actual name on Instagram. But
Yeah.
and this is kind of the thing I wanted to tell people is like a lot of photographers that are like commercial advertising, like big name photographers, they're not really known on Instagram.
Yeah. They don't
And I
want
think
people
that's the
stealing
other.
their stuff. Like.
Yeah, well, it's not even just that. It's just different. Instagram photography is just different. Like I've
Oh.
assisted a
Okay.
lot of big name photographers, um, like assisting them, and they didn't really even have Instagram. And if they did, it was like literally iPhone photos of like just everyday life. They just never posted
Yeah.
anything, and it just wasn't part of their thing. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people now they're like, "Oh, professional photographer, do you know this guy?" And I'm like, "Well, sure, they're professional, but it's like they're more of a content creator for themselves than like an advertising commercial photographer because there's all
Yeah.
these different genres and like it
Yeah.
kind of gets people kind of get confused about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, tangent, but
No, that was
yeah,
great. That's a.
this
I think it's
guy's
good to
quite great.
distinguish that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Joey
it's just a
L.
different type of photography. Like if you look at Joey L's photos, quite big, and these portraits, they're gonna have a big impact on you. Yeah, so he's really great. Another guy I really like a lot for his work with color and like his simplicity in photos is a guy named Nick Fancher, and his last name is spelled Fancher. And this guy's shot a lot of like music, like a lot of bands and stuff like that, like a lot of their albums and everything. But I've really been a fan of his work since he was doing some more commercial stuff. And
Okay.
now let's see if I can find his exact handle. So I'm really inspired by his work, just because I really love what he does with color, and he does all his stuff in camera. So
Is
yeah, so
this
that's
okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was
So he
this?
does.
This looks like it was one of the like opening screens for like Photoshop. I think.
Yeah, it's
Like
similar
so, I
vibe.
don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
really similar vibe. But I've
Okay,
I've kind of taken. I definitely like what he's done. So I've kind of like been influenced by his work. So here's like a self portrait I did with kind of like a similar style to
can
this.
you get it? Can you scoot it like right in front of your face? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. And then I've also incorporated like video to make it move,
Okay.
um, as well. So yeah, I like this kind of in camera work and like working with movement and color. And so
Okay.
definitely that guy's super
Nice.
influential with my personal work. Um, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then of course you have people like Amy Leibovitz, who everybody knows, but her work is pretty
She's
incredible. Just the
took the last
simplicity of
photograph
it.
of John Lennon.
Yeah, yeah,
Just she's an important person. But she's
yeah.
still, yeah,
She
I think she
is.
has a master class on
She does.
masterclass. So that
Yeah, I have a good friend. I have a friend of mine who I used to assist with, and he actually used to be her assistant for a while in New York.
oh
So that
man,
was. He couldn't tell me too much about it because he signed an NDA, but I'm sure it was very
yeah,
difficult. Let's just leave it at that. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'd imagine there's some ego attached to when you got that name. She did
yeah,
some great shots. Yeah, she's like an
yeah.
important photographer. You go look at. I mean, what do I show students like things that are it's hard to find things that are relevant to them, but like, the
Hmm.
Michael Jordan photos she did. I tried with
Yeah.
John Lennon and Yoko, like where he's like in fetal position and they're like, who? And I'm just like, you guys,
Yeah.
come on. So, well, that's cool. All right. Okay. So what piece of art did you see? Like, what's the first piece of art that you remember, like, sort of having a moment with?
Okay. First piece, I don't know, but I know the last one I did.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I can start thinking about the first one, but I know a recent one I saw. I was actually at the airport in Prague. They just did an installation. There's an artist. I had to look up his name. Let me see if I find it. His name is Patrick Proško, and he's a Czech artist. And he did this installation of a former Czech president, Václav Havel. And basically, he took all of Václav Havel's old objects that he
Okay.
had at his home, and he created an
Oh,
installation of he made a portrait of him using all of these objects.
yeah. Okay.
And to me,
I'm
that was just wild. I can share that with you if you want to check that out. Yeah, that was
yeah. I'm
incredible.
I got like I saw some of his it was just sort of a portrait of him in front of his work.
All right,
I'm
let's see.
trying to
I'll find
find
it
the
for you.
one. I think I see it. Oh, there we go. Oh, cool.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, is this like so? As you like walk by, like his portrait
Yes.
sort of comes into.
Yeah,
All
and I can
right.
share a video later that I actually did of walking around it. But here's kind of like a side view of what
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
like. So it's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Once you're straight on with it, it's a portrait of him straight up. So
So so what was the draw to that? Like, was it a like just sort of like wow, gotcha? Like you the whole experience of it of like seeing it come from just objects to a portrait, or was it like
yeah,
the objects themselves, or
I think it was just also it was kind of everything because the objects were, I believe, his objects were objects
oh
that had to do with him. It was like a portrait of him. It was like his old phone. It was his old keys, his old typewriter, his old like just
model
stuff.
cars? Yeah,
And so you're basically like throwing that in there and you're recreating the person with their stuff. And to me, that's what was even,
that's super
more
cool. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. And it
yeah,
was in the airport, so it was kind of cool to see it there. You're like, oh, wow. And it was quite big, a
yeah,
decent sized piece. So that was really, that was the most recent thing that I saw where I was like, this is really pretty awesome. So, yeah.
yeah. That's that stuff. I've thought about like I see things all the time. I'm like, oh, I should try that with the students, and this one I can't wrap my head around. Like, I don't. I don't know that I have the patience to try to do something. Obviously, something more simple than this, but that stuff
Yeah.
is
I
so
think you
cool.
really have to, yeah, it's like patience, but I think you also have to have like a really good concept of like breaking down an image to its like basic shapes and color and shadows and everything. Like,
Yeah,
wait, like, are you familiar with Chuck Close? Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like that. Like when I see something like this, like they work in kind of the same way. They're able to break down an image into little pieces at a time and build up the whole
yeah,
piece. Which to me,
yeah.
like I don't know how people do that. I really don't.
That's,
But
I mean, that's a big teaching aspect. Like, you can get people to feel success by sort of teaching an aspect of his process, breaking
yeah,
it into a grid. But yeah, he's he's an interesting dude. um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So that was the most recent one, and then another one I saw was I went to a museum. So I'm actually quite bad. I've been bad about going to museums recently in the past couple of years, but I
Yeah.
did go to one a couple months ago, back in Prague as well, and I got to see a cool installation that was really inspiring, um, with like more found objects kind of thing with quickly written phrases that went with the found objects, and they were kind
Okay.
of some of them were kind of witty, some of them were kind of funny, but also some of them were more deep, and that was kind of an interesting installation to walk through, and I appreciated that. So
Nice.
I can post that up, but yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
The guy name was Christoph Quintera, and I really liked that installation. So
Okay.
yeah,
Sweet. Yeah. I like you're introducing, I think, a new word for this podcast. We
which
haven't
one?
talked about installations.
It's,
We haven't talked about those before.
yeah, yeah,
There.
yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, I'm sure you do. Like, it's a pretty. I think anyone listening to this has, like, it's a pretty niche like, podcast. But installations are like site-specific artwork. It's made for wherever it's installed. So, but yeah, man. Sorry, that's the art teacher, sort of nerding out on that.
Yeah, a
Uh,
lot of people don't know. I think a lot of people they have this idea of like modern art, and they see like a random found object in a place, and they don't kind of get the concept of installations. But they also
yeah,
don't know the context of them either. To be fair, so
it's. How do you feel about that? Like postmodern, like where the viewer is expected to do the work to understand the artwork.
I have mixed feelings. So like
Okay.
this last installation, it definitely kind of guided you a little bit. It like the little brief at the beginning, the artist statement, and everything. But it kind of left you to just take it how you wanted to, like you're saying, how it's going. And actually, I actually really like this one,
Okay.
just because I did get something out of it. I guess I
Nice.
found myself
Yeah.
taking a lot of photos of the different pieces I liked, with like the witty comments that were with these found objects and like different things assembled together. I'm trying to think of one to reference, but I can share it later. Uh,
Yeah.
but to anyone who looks it up, if you look up the artist, and then the name of the installation was called "How Can I Help You?" and Christoph Quintera. But if you look through those, it'll have um, some interesting things. But I don't know. I think it just depends. Like sometimes it feels like someone just throwing something out in the world and calling it art.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know that's not true, but like it feels like that. And this one felt more thought through, even though some of the things he created were like instantly made, where he like quickly threw out a word with a piece.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
The I don't. Yeah. People like you said, like people throwing stuff out. Like, I don't think they understand like the vulnerability that people like that artists expose themselves to when they do stuff that is, not shock art, but like something that other people would be like, well, I can do that, like.
yeah,
So it's a weird balance, especially like as a teacher when you're like, all right, students, we're gonna go look at this Rothko and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
this color, this field of color. We're gonna go look at this. How do you
yeah,
feel? Like trying to get them to do that, but in the same vein or the same breath, like I remember going to the museum with some fifth graders, and one kid totally having a moment with a Rothko, and
Okay.
yeah, just and like I was like, I don't know how you came to this, but and how you described it so
Yeah.
eloquently as a fifth grader, much or yeah, or just as a human. Like most people look at a Rothko and they're just like, next, and so
Yeah.
uh, it
But
was
you're
a really
right.
cool moment. It checked me because I was kind of in the like even in through art school, I was just kind of like, here's another one, whatever. And she had this, and I
Yeah.
was like, who am I to
But that phrase that
like,
you said is what most people say. It's true. They'd say, but I can do that,
yeah,
and but
yeah,
then my thing to say is, well, you didn't,
yeah, yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
and
I
also you
say,
didn't
yeah,
have the mindset behind it. Like the idea behind the thing is really what the art is,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. They say, well, I could do that, and mine is, well, go do it. You know how
yeah,
much this sold for at auction? Like, go do it. We're talking about
yeah,
him. Nobody's talking about you. Like, how do because those types of things resonate with someone who would say, I could do that. It's like, well,
mm, yeah.
very
I
much
do
so,
appreciate it.
but you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I do appreciate though, like, like a lot of installations and stuff. I do like experiences. I like being some of these experiences not necessarily told like what you should be feeling, but just told like this is what you do and just go do it.
Yeah.
So, for example, at the same museum I was at, I did a VR experience there,
Oh,
and I didn't
cool.
know really what it was. I just know it was located in Ukraine on the VR.
Oh,
So
wow.
I put on these goggles, and I was like, they didn't really say too much about it. They kind of did, but it was very simple. And you put on the goggles, and basically you're put in um, Ukraine in like an old like blown up spot, and like it was a school, for example, that had been blown up, and you're seeing some people standing there, and you're hearing the sounds of like birds flying around, but you're in a blown up space, and you're turning around, you're seeing everything is fully interactive, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you're
Yeah.
multiple places like this, and you're just taking it all in. And that was crazy. That was heavy.
Wow.
So really
Wow.
interesting
Yeah.
way to use VR, and really interesting way to, you know, yeah, display everything like that. So that
Dang.
was heavy.
That's cool. Yeah. You got my brain turning on that one. Like, I'm thinking, I've been trying to figure out how to introduce VR to students. It's so tedious, and that's
Yeah.
a cool. I like that. Yeah, if you can find that
Yeah.
artist's name, send it to me, please.
Yeah,
I
I'll try to
gotta.
find that one. That one I
Yeah,
did, and it was so heavy, and I was after doing it, you're just kind of like, all right, I think we're
yeah.
done with the museum for the day,
Is
just
this
because you're kind of
yeah?
like,
This headset
yeah,
filled with tears, like
yeah, it's just
yeah,
intense.
yeah,
But
man.
also amazing. Whoever thought of that, like, hey, why don't we show you in person as best you can? Not really in person, but
Yeah.
experience it in a different way rather than a photo or video. Just take you in there for a minute.
Wow,
So that
dude.
was really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Okay. All right. I'm intrigued. There's one more question that I'll ask later, but while we're on it,
Okay.
I'm intrigued. Like, do you have like so you have work for paintball, like which is it's cool because it's something like I get it, like it's something we love, but it is also like for someone else. Do you have stuff for paintball, like projects that you want to do that you're willing to talk about, or do you want to
Yeah.
keep that under wraps?
Yeah. No. So like I said, this year is the first year of doing, paintball related photo and video stuff, and it's been really cool. And I feel like there's definitely a need for different kinds of work in there. I think people are wanting more long form stories. I think there's definitely a need for that because people are definitely crushing it with, you know, stories and reels and everything, and that's great. But
Yeah,
I think people really want to go back to have like, a documentary like Pat Score did with Monkey with a Gun, where you follow around, you know, excessive for a year, 2 years, and
yeah,
see how
yeah,
that develops. And like people really want that stuff. So Yeah, and this year I got a chance to do a little bit of that with the Hormesis film with Miko
Okay.
and Pat, and that's been really cool. I would like to do some other kind of stuff. I have some ideas for. We'll see if we do them. It just
Oh,
depends.
okay. Okay.
But so I don't know as far as video wise, but I will say photo wise, there is a cool project happening, and it's in development now. And that's I'm working with Alex Frazier, and yeah, we're doing a
I
paintball
think I know about
magazine.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He talked to me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Although we can say it's more of a, it's
Like a
not necessarily
coffee
a magazine.
table
It's
coffee.
more of a coffee table book. Yeah, yeah. It's a bigger
He just
size.
he
Yeah.
talked about it on the Spick and Span show. Just so you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
feel like
Okay.
it's not top secret.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So Mike Jeffrey is going to be the copyright. He's going to be the copyright. He's going to be the editor, going through and like doing a lot of interviews and stuff for it. But it's definitely going to be more photo driven. I think what's really cool about this project is it's going to showcase a lot of photography in a way where you can kind of take it in more. And a lot of people know the famous book
Hmm.
that kind of showcased the work from the Paint magazine, and it's going to be more of that kind of thing. But I would also say more also like Faceful, if people remember
Yeah.
Faceful from way back
Oh
in the
yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
so it's more
Okay.
focused on like photo driven, uh, and yeah, we're working with a lot of different people in the game who have great talent. Some people are shooting film, and it's going to be a cool project. I'm excited about that one. That one's in development now, and this next year. To follow that one, there's actually an Instagram Alex made for it. It's called Great American Paintball. That's going to be the name of the magazine as well.
Oh,
So it
sweet.
won't, yeah, it won't
I
only
didn't
have
know that.
American
That's
paintball,
dope.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah. So if you go to Instagram and go to just search for Great American Paintball, and
yeah, I think
yeah,
yeah, I might just be following that guy. I don't
yeah,
know.
you might have. Yeah, some people kind of leaked it already early, so that's why I can say it. It kind of just got out
Okay.
there, but nothing's posted as of yet.
Yeah. No, I'm following him.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think what's cool is that's going to allow like a lot of people's photos to be better like appreciated and better taken in because I think a lot of stuff just gets scrolled past. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's sick, and then it's
Yeah.
done. But not even just that; it's so small on your screen on your phone that
Yeah.
you can't really take it in. You don't notice,
Yeah.
you don't feel the impact of the moment as much as if you see it in a bigger way.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just our generation might be the last one. I don't know, but like the tangible like reading of things, I feel like is a much better way to like retain it versus
Yeah.
like you're saying on the screen and the small little whatever. And it's just
Well, and
so
for showing too. Like, I mean, if I'm gonna go talk to someone about paintball, I'll be like, "Hey, hold on, let me scroll through
yeah.
my phone real quick." And
Yeah.
yeah, so here, check this out. Okay, hold on, I
Yeah.
got this one. Check this out. And now it's like, here's a magazine.
Yeah.
Check it out. Here's all this stuff about paintball that you don't know, and it's cool. I think that's the other thing, and I think also nostalgia too. Like a lot of the
Oh
oldies
yeah.
is becoming new again. Like this, like vinyls. Vinyl has gone crazy recently.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I feel
It's
like it's kind of a lot of things coming back. I don't know, maybe. Yeah.
I hope so. I think even if it's not coming back like massively, there's enough, and we're so connected via internet. Like that's part of the beautiful thing of the internet is like, we can our little niche can be a much bigger no longer niche like because
Yeah,
we all know where to find each other.
yeah,
So, I think
exactly.
yeah. So, but man, that's going to be so exciting. I talked to him about it once, and I was like, "This is how do I be a part of this? Just like I wanna whatever you need, I'll sweep floors somehow if I need to. Like this is so cool. So
Yeah, and
that's
I think
cool.
it'll be cool also just to showcase a lot of people in the paintball industry in a different way,
Yeah.
and just more stuff doesn't hurt. But also, I think when you have things like this, it kind of more like cements things in history when it's like printed or what
Oh
have
yeah.
you, or on film. It's more like I mean, I keep all my magazines. I have like
Yeah.
facefuls from 2003, I think, or four, or
Dang.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
You know
yeah,
what was the one like Faithful was good. I liked them. PGI, I think it was like Paintball Games
Paintball Games
International.
International. Yeah.
They did. I have one of still, which was like the top 200 players, and it's
Oh,
fun to go
okay.
look. It's fun to go look at it and be like, okay, like I don't know why they chose this one, but whatever. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
but it is that like or why should I know about this person? But I have a face full with X Factor when they were first like approaching the pro scene,
Nice.
and it was that they did some great shoots on that. That's something I'm hoping comes from this is like more shoots. Like the X Factor shoot, they had the whole team in front of some like graffiti wall or whatever, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
15 dudes. Like if I that picture just wouldn't make sense these days. They'd be like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Why do they have three teams? Like
Yeah, yeah.
whereas that or like I don't know who did it, or if it was a paintball person, but Ollie in the fencing stuff.
Yep.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there used to be some really cool like creative stuff, whereas now it's still cool, but it's not. It's action shots,
Yeah.
and it's like
And that's
let's
kind of the thing that
like
I'd like to do. I would like to do more of with paintball players is more off-field shots because a lot of people see like, okay, here's another photo of this guy bunkering this dude, and that's
yeah,
cool. Don't get me wrong, that's sick. But like, I like to showcase people outside of the field living their day-to-day life. And even in the pit shots, like I love doing photos like in the pits. Like
oh yeah,
for me, that's fun because that's the emotion is really coming out there and the intensity, and you're really feeling the moments there. On the field, it's just action, which is totally cool. But
yeah,
for me, it's different.
and necessary. Like it's not. Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to say like knock action shots. They're cool. Like
Yeah.
they're
No, no,
and
I got you.
yeah. Have you looked
Yeah.
at? You know Carl Markowski, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you
I
seen some of his
spoke to him
stuff?
briefly. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. I
he's
talked shop with him a little bit. Yeah. I really like what he's doing. And he's a good example. Like that kind of stuff is great. It's more of he's finding like the details and the moments, outside of the net. And
yeah,
and that's really fun. The in
yeah,
between moments are really
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
George Fava does this a lot too.
yeah. George
Um,
Fava's great.
he does
He's
a lot of this kind of style, and I really like his work a lot. He's been crushing it for a long time in paintball. So yeah, it's
yeah,
been cool to get to know him this year as well. Yeah,
it's amazing,
yeah,
man.
yeah. So I'm hoping to do some of those kind of more shoots, like you were saying with Oliver with fencing, like stuff that's paintball players, but outside of paintball.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
kind of what I want to do some more of. Secret
and
project.
it's still and it's still relevant. Like man, it just dawned on me. Like he's he's in a fencing outfit. He's dueling, and that was his whole like he worked with him on the duel. That's whoa,
Mhm.
full circle. All right. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I really appreciate you doing all this.
Yeah, no, it's been
I
cool.
got one more question.
Yeah,
Uh, what posters were on your wall in high school?
cool. So I had to think about this one. So probably some band posters. Probably also like I might have just printed some band pictures too,
Yeah.
because some of the
Yeah.
bands that I liked like didn't necessarily have posters.
Yeah, dude.
So
We've
that was
touched
kind of
base on
fun.
bands a few times, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think we were
that makes
both at.
sense.
I think you were also at Furnace Fest 2 years ago too, weren't you?
Oh, so I went this year, and then yeah, I guess it
Okay.
was 2 years. Yeah, like we
Yeah, yeah.
skipped a
Because I
year.
was at the first one back or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. We were at the same
Yes,
one.
that was
Yeah,
such a experience, man. Because it was so context for people that don't know what's going on. Furnace Fest is this huge, hardcore emo post hard whatever like that
yeah,
genre of music, and so out record labels like Solid State Records and late I can't think of the other ones. Anyway, they'd planned this like sort of like reunion at this cool venue that's a literal like furnace. So you're in this shed and there's all these like metal bands, hardcore bands playing, and it is it's lining up to look so cool, and then COVID hit, and so they had to postpone it a few years, and that was my first, like, so whenever it finally happened, that was my first like entry back into public, really, after COVID.
Mm, yeah.
And man, the it was all like such a special moment, just because like all these bands too hadn't performed for a year and a half,
Yeah.
so
A
they're
lot of
like,
bands got back together after being broken up, and yeah, it was really cool. It was special for sure.
yeah, well, that's cool, man. I wish, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, yeah, that was
All
cool.
right,
So I had some band posters on my walls. I probably had a poster of Audrey Hepburn. I was a
okay,
big fan of her, and then
all right,
I had paintball pictures. So I would actually take like um, Faceful magazine, and I would like there was a sweet photo in there. I actually would tear it out, and that was like
yeah.
small poster. So actually, the one I
Oh,
remember, I had two paintball posters. I remember right now, off the top of my head in my room. I had one of Oliver on Iron Man.
okay.
That was like a proper like big poster, and then I had one of Ryan Greenspan playing in PPL. I think Huntington Beach, and he was playing in the sand. So that was
Did
probably like
he?
'03 or something.
Wow. Did he have
Yeah.
the? He used to wear, I think the, what's that JT? The Proteus or whatever? Was he in that, or was it the
I
Flex?
think he was just in a flex with a,
Okay.
white
Yeah.
bandana,
Yeah. I
and then
remember
the
that. Yeah.
JTs with like the zipper on the side,
Oh, the
shooting a
cool
Blue
ones. Yeah.
Angel. Yeah,
Oh
yeah. I
man.
actually
Yeah.
recently saw that photo. It was funny. I was in Paris this year at the NXLEU event, and they had this old school paintball venue there, and they had a bunch of faithful photos like stuck up on the wall that were kind of glued there, like um,
Like
you
decoupage
know,
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then I actually saw that same photo, and I was like, oh, okay, there's that photo that I had,
Yeah.
growing up by
Dude,
my bed, like on the
that's
side. It was
cool.
cool. Yeah, so that was kind of funny, like you know, doing that and then working with like the Dynasty guys this year and getting to know them and filming some of them for the movie we're working on. And, it's just been
Yeah.
kind of like funny, weird full circle things that have happened and just kind of happened organically. Like this whole year for me has been with paintball, has just kind of fell into it and then just kind of rode the waves. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been fun. It's been really
Do
cool.
you so I don't know what your reaction was, but I remember the first time I got like a direct message from any of the like from Alex or Oliver. Do you remember that moment? Was it
Yeah.
as
So
big for you as it
Oliver,
was for me?
yeah, it was
Like, I was,
interesting. I was like, so I was in Prague and I forget what I was doing. Maybe it was during COVID. And Oliver messaged me. And I did like a photo, like a black and white photo that looked like a tintype photo, and
okay.
but it was with my phone. And then he was like, "How did you do that?" And so I like gave him this like tutorial of like how I did it on the phone and everything. And that was kind of it. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird that he hit me up." And
Yeah.
then this past year has just been kind of funny, being like now I talk to Alex regularly and we work on projects together. And like Miko's a
Yeah.
legend too. I'm working on this film
Oh yeah.
project with him, and a lot of people don't realize, Miko is a huge legend in the game. I was there when he played with Iron Man and when they beat the Russians back in '07. Like, he's a
Yeah.
legendary player too. So yeah, it's been funny.
For
It's just
sure.
been kind
Yeah.
of like
His yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
paintball's a special place. Like it's got a lot of great people in it, and yeah, paintball's been like always there for me during like a lot of like intense times, different like dark times, and everything. And yeah, it's an amazing thing for sure. Yeah.
Sweet, man. That's great. Yeah, there's so much truth in that. Man, I can't wait. I think I talked to you about the zine that I'm
Yeah.
hoping to send out before Christmas. But I touch on some of that stuff in there. Like it is such, and it's so like everyone has that story of like, you know, I think of just like paintball being there for them in whatever
Oh yeah.
facet, like either through your team or for like the escape or I don't know. Like it
Yeah.
touches on so many things in people's lives. So
Oh yeah, I mean, I could do
Well,
a whole
sweet,
separate
man.
talk just about that topic right there, honestly. So yeah,
Dang it!
it's
Next time
pretty,
we'll do that. Another time when my
yeah.
computer's charged, and
Oh,
I.
good.
Dang it, man. Uh,
Yeah,
well,
sweet.
dude, you are a saint. I appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah, man.
just chat, man. I loved that. Hopefully we get to hang out sometime. Are
Bless you.
you doing? You're going to be doing events this year,
Hold on. You
like
still there? Oh, there
NXL?
it goes. It glitched out. There it goes.
Yeah.
I lost you for a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all
Yeah.
good. So, are you going to be doing NXL events this year?
Yeah. So I'm hoping to. I haven't really talked about projects. So this year I've just been working like pretty much exclusively with Hormesis, and then I did some work with NXL Europe, a couple things. But yeah, this next year I'm going to be doing the magazine with Alex, and we'll see what else happens. Yeah. I'm hoping to hit the field again as
Okay.
well. So we'll see what that entails. But yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Well,
I'll be
if
at the
you find
paintball field
yourself
either
ending up
way.
at Fit, yeah, nice, nice. If you find
Yeah,
yourself at Fit, uh, give me a heads up, and I'll try to go out there. We can grab a beer or something.
100%. Yeah, I'd love to meet you out
Yeah.
there. So hopefully see you at Vegas
Yeah,
or
man.
yeah, the next Texas event.
Yeah,
So
hopefully. That Vegas, yeah, the summit and all that stuff. I'm like, I think I have to go. I got to find a way. So,
yeah,
well, cool,
make it a
man.
World
Thanks
Cup.
again. I
Make it a
really
World Cup.
appreciate
We got to
it.
come out in a World Cup.
That's the goal. Yeah,
We got to get you.
I'll speak that into existence. Yeah.
There you go. Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you. Hey guys, thank you so much for sticking around this long. I just wanted to real quick give you guys the links to Philip's sites, to his Instagram. It's Anchors Away, and I'll put the links to his website and some of the artwork that we talked about in the section below. He's super nice dude. Reach out if you heard something you liked. Go tell him thank you. You know that's a huge. It really means a lot to creators when someone just takes that extra effort and says, "Hey man, love what you're doing. Appreciate it." Like so, go check him out. Yeah, guys, I'm finishing up a zine right now. Like I'm going tomorrow to get it printed, and then I'll staple it, I'll fold it up and send it out. So if that's something you're interested in, I make zines. You know, as I try to make them like twice a year, and hopefully more. But if you don't know what a zine is, then sign up for my Patreon and you'll find out. I'm not gonna spill the beans on that one. But yeah, if you like what you hear, if you like my artwork, if you like the zine, then go check out my Patreon. And I've got different levels, and the entry level will get you a zine, which is pretty dope. And it'll also put you in the drawing for a piece of artwork. Every month I do a little raffle or a wheel spinny thingy, a drawing of sorts to win a piece of artwork. And the most recent winner won this painting of Mr. Rainey Stanzak. So if you can check out my Instagram and see what you might win, but I usually just announce that stuff on my Patreon. It's for my patrons anyways. So if you're interested, go check it out, man. I'll put the link to my Patreon below. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Hey, if I don't make another recording before then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Yeah, it's the joy of paintball. Much love.